Okay, welcome back everybody. It's time for the dev interviews, which I am really curious about because I've been talking about the devs all through Sisters vs. Sisters, and now we get to take a look. I mean, it might not be the same team, but let's see. And I already am skeptical on this question. If you can take a road trip on a motorcycle, where would you go and what kind of motorcycle would you ride? It'd be wonderful to visit the fountains and squares in Rome with any motorcycle model. Mont Saint Michel is also appealing, and I'd love to explore the British Museum. British Museum, really? Leveraging my touring experiences and creating an indie game with international conspiracy plots at famous landmarks would be intriguing too. Would anyone consider sponsoring? Who are you? Scenario writer? Huh. Well, then where was that? That actually sounds kind of interesting. Please give a message to fans who purchased the Neptunia Writers vs. Dogoos magazine edition. I would be delighted if you could fully enjoy this Neptunia game that has significantly deviated from our conventional titles. I mean, I did enjoy it, but character designer, if you could take... Same question? Wait, is that the same? Okay, no. Okay, they just asked the same question of scenario writer and the character designer. So the character designer ride through a vast open area where he can see the horizon. Well, he or she. I think that would feel great, so I'd say Hokkaido. Among the 5 goddesses bikes, blonde seemed perfect for ride. Oh yeah, the Northern Country. Can't take anything away from that. All right. And then your message, I never thought I'd get a chance to design bikes and riding outfits for the 5 goddesses. Interesting, the 5, there's more than 5, but you know. I took this opportunity to incorporate some goddess-themed elements to the bike decals. I'd be happy if you could check out those decal stickers in the magazine edition of Neptunia Writers vs. Dogoos. Yes, those decal stickers are actually pretty nice. Honestly, again, the special edition seems... Well, this magazine was definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. Let's do it like this. I like bending this magazine, but I need to be able to have you all see. This game is completely different genre from the previous Insane series. How did the idea creating a game centered around the bikes come about? No surprise, it was conceived when we tested the bikes in the previous game, Neptunia Game Maker, our evolution. Originally, there was a plan for a massive Dogoos outbreak, but we realized that combining massive Dogoos outbreak with with Neptune and friends racing on bikes made for an intriguing idea, so the development on that began. This evolved into a game where Dogoos were continuously piled up and collected. How do I feel about that? Well, it makes no surprise that the concept came from that game, even though... Do they have dev questions for that game? Because I'm curious to see if where that idea came from, because IF should have been the initial part of it, because they're all her bikes. Like, her bike was green, and then it turned purple, and then we got this. In Neptunia Writers vs. Dogoos, each character has a bike design that reflects their personality. Can you tell us if there were any specific requests you made to the artist, such as things to be mindful or certain creative design elements that had to be included? We asked Urimo-san, who was in charge of costume design, not to simply create riding suits, but to incorporate designs that would showcase the characters' personalities in the world. Initially, Uzume's costume was directly based on riding suits, so adjustments were made that resulted in her current design. So, I just now actually put that together. This is not the original artist of the Neptunia cast. It's someone new, and this new person made those designs. Because I thought the original artist was still working freelance. But again, I kind of take... I haven't actually looked at it myself. I was just going off of what people were saying. But interesting. Well, I definitely think they nailed that. Yeah, the designs were peak. Designs were peak. To the point where I'm almost wondering, wishing, why can't they just bring out all the costumes that they've done? Why can't they just keep them in new games? They like to reuse assets. That's an asset I would not mind them reusing. That would give them a much bigger catalog, a lot more things for people to collect. They could get their favorite outfits again, you know? I would do that. Although this game is centered around bikes, the objective is not a bike race, but to collect Dogoos. How did this idea come about? Simply riding a bike isn't enough to make it a game. I thought it would be interesting to collect and stack Dogoos, which are iconic to Neptunia, and design a game around that. Man, are you kidding me?
Wait, what? Wait, Wait. Was that extreme gear?
I am so hyped about Sonic Cross Worlds. All they gotta do is run. Okay. You're not a racing fan. I get it. But I think that just basically told me there won't be enough to make a racing game. But they could put like they could make it Neptunia based. Uzume is back in the limelight for Neptunia Riders vs. Dogoos. She hasn't. Okay. We're getting to the meat and potatoes. What's this interviewer? I wish I knew. Thank you. She hasn't been in the spotlight since Mega Dimension Neptunia, actually, Cyber Dimension. Well, technically, Mega Dimension Neptunia VR, but I consider Cyber Dimension. So I'll accept that. Was there any thought process or reason you picked Uzume as a showrunner in this? Oh, yes. Were there any other goddesses or characters you thought of that could also have been in the spotlight for Neptunia Riders vs. Dogoos? What are you going to say? In very early development, we use older Neptune from Neptunia Game Maker R Revolution as a prototype character. However, we wanted to completely change the protagonist and shift the tone. After considering the need for a character to drive both the story and the game in this installment, we chose the lively Uzume as a protagonist. Do you all remember when I made a video, the main character dictates the mood of the game? Neptune and Plutia were on the silly vibe, and Uzume and Nepgear were on the serious vibe. And at the same time, I also mentioned how the games have been transitioning from the vibes. But now I know for a fact that's been off, because if Maho's game, Neptunia's Sisters vs. Sisters, was serious, which is odd because you would think Maho would be for a silly. Well, Maho is, Grey Sister isn't. Anyways, Maho's game, or Neptunia Sisters vs. Sisters, was a serious vibe. I don't know which vibe Adult Neptune's game is, although it seems to be saying that she had a more serious game too. But if it was silly or serious, either way, Uzume's game, Neptunia Riders vs. Dogoos, is silly. So they broke the trend. So not only did they break the trend, they also had Uzume be a silly protagonist this time. Was it more meant for Adult Neptune and they just slotted Uzume in? I think maybe I'll have to wait to actually play this game. So nothing told them to bring Uzume back. They just decided to choose her, huh? All right. The Gigotic Doggo appears in the game. How did Really? He must have been told to ask about that. I don't care about that. It was an afterthought, but since many doggos have cute shapes, we introduced the Gigotic. Okay. Oh wait, there's pages. Hang on. There's a lead planner. Doggo to add a boss-like appearance. We incorporate into the Japanese style of the game to communicate the concept. Okay. If you could take a road trip on a motorcycle, same ones. I like to race full throttle through a vast desert. That seems like it belongs in a post-apocalyptic world with it. I was just mentioning that in Stellar Blade. Mega Dimension. You know what? All right, I can't blame you for that. That's not bad. And then your message to us. The magazine edition not only includes perks like an art book, OST, stickers, and more, but it also allows you to download a costume DLC. Yeah, I got that. It's like they're all advertised. I got the magazine. I got it. Thank you. All right, lead planner. This game is completely different genre from the previous Neptunia series. How did the idea of creating a game centered about bikes come about? Previous game, we introduced a system where older Neptune and protagonists use a bike to travel quickly. Since the concept of traveling by bike was new to the Neptunia series, we started developing a game that revolved around it. Again, from what I hear, that makes sense. Each character has a bike. Yep, same question. Each character in the Neptunia series has their own thematic color and design, so we really wanted to put those elements at the forefront. When the bike designs arrived, they were simply magnificent. I do like the bike designs. How the idea about the game come about. To really focus on bike racing, we discussed it might be better to let players freely explore various parts of the stages rather than having them race around one track. After selling on that, we chose Dogoos as the collectible items. Who said it needs to be one track? Oh. Among the Dogoos, some have special abilities such as, oh, this is new. Enhanced jumping or making the size of the characters and bikes gigantic. It's very diverse and fun. Were there any particular abilities that you definitely wanted to include? Also, were there any abilities you considered but ultimately not used? The varying abilities of Dogoos were added to make them easier to collect and diversify where they could be collected. The ability to create a tornado to snatch up Dogoos was added for its exciting impact. One idea we had but did not use was about connecting Dogoos on a rope. The concept was that you had to pull the rope in a tug of war with your opponent, and if you won through rapid button, you would take a large number of their Dogoos. That sounds like a multiplayer idea. I would like that. What was the most challenging aspect about developing Neptunia Riders versus Dogoos? How did you overcome it? Main concern was that when the Dogoos would gather into a big ball, the characters would be difficult to see. However, we wanted players to witness the peculiar behavior of the gathered Dogoos, so balancing these aspects was challenging. To address this, we received significant help from the programmers to implement features like making Dogoos transparent when they overlap with characters. Okay, fair enough, I suppose. Could you tell us the most enjoyable part about developing Neptunia Riders vs. Dogoos, or share any fun episodes from the process? The game features not just Dogoos, but also a variety of yeah, I can imagine. It was fun to imagine the chaos from the characters being influenced by the Dogoo men, along with the quirky behaviors of Dogoo men themselves. Yeah, that's fair. Same question, why is Bay in the game? It was decided quite early on that Uzume would be the main protagonist. She seemed to naturally fit into the role since she had potential to ride a bike with passion and without discomfort. True. Bikes, of course, because she's a rule of cool enthusiast, all right? That's why Shadow had to ride a bike, even though they all ride in cars. Uzume gotta do the same thing. IF, of course, would be a good character. Which I'm surprised they say, were there any other gods or characters you thought of? IF didn't come up? Again, the Gigated Dogoo. Initially, there was no Gigated Dogoo, but we wanted to make a big impression right from the start. That's how it came to existence. Okay. Last page. The last questions are just for you then. Any other particular points or features in Neptunia Riders vs. Dogoos that you would recommend the players to enjoy? Watching the Dogoos when they're collected. I never did that, to be honest. I never did that. Shame, I wish I'd known. Most of the motorcycles showcased were mile-after racing motorcycles. Did you have any scenarios where there were different types? Ooh. A Harley Davidson or any American? Did he really ask that? Any classic American motorcycles? The idea of scooters and other shapes of the bicycles were considered. Wait, did I say bicycles? Motorcycles, dadgummit. The idea of scooters and other shapes for the bike designs were considered. However, due to customization system where different parts can be mixed and matched, they didn't always fit together. So I wonder if they bring the bikes back, would they have more customized bikes? Because I can see them riding different types. I think that would fit a lot better, but I mean, they reuse assets, so who knows? If the goddesses from the Neptunia Riders vs. Dogoos were participate in a bike race, who do you think would win? I originally thought Neptune would win because she's the protagonist, but I'm putting my money on Blonde as a dark host. She seemed like she would freeze the road. Okay, they didn't make a racing game. Okay. They did not make a racing game because acceleration is only one part. Even though even I myself said I don't prioritize acceleration, handling. You need handling. Ice takes away all your handling. She's gonna crash and then all the speed. Slow and steady wins the race. Nope. Well, at least for that reason. If Blonde would take it slow and steady, then that would make sense. But I wonder how Noir would do, honestly. In fact, if we go by processing speeds, well then technically wouldn't it be Vert? Although Planetoon has a hypothetical, so maybe... You know what? Question of the day for this video. Who do you all think would win? Yeah, I got plenty of questions to choose from. Well, actually, yeah. If you could take a road trip on a motorcycle, where would you go and what type of motorcycle would you like to ride? Planetoon City on a Planetoon is a great choice. It's an excellent choice. That's not Planetoon, but... Let's say you were the leader of your own motorcycle group in game industry. What would you name it? I guess I'd name them the Eternal Speedsters of game industry. Or like a cheetah. Why not like a kangaroo? Well, I mean, you're not Neptune, so that's fair. I like the Eternal Speedsters of game industry. and give a message. We hope you enjoy reading the art book, which reflects the twists and turns during development, and listening to the soundtrack filled with exhilarating music. Additionally, it comes with a sticker sheet featuring decals that Neptunia and her friends have on their bike, so we hope you can use them to feel like you're riding the same vehicle as the goddesses. Okay. Well, yeah, this is definitely going to be its own thing then. I didn't expect 18 minutes of my recording. Thoughts? That was interesting. It gave me... I'm not sure to be comforted or worried by the responses. Uzume seemed to be like more of a whim thing than I had assumed. They looked at the poll they did, saw a lot of people wanting Uzume back, and chose to choose her for this. But it seems like they just decided, hey, this will be an interesting game. What about Uzume? That works. Which I guess kind of makes sense, because if they, again, for me, any game with Uzume in it, Nepgear would need to be in it as well. I think Uzume actually spent more time with the candidates than she spent with them. Well, maybe not, because there was that scene in Mega Dimension where they split. But definitely at least Nepgear and Adult Neptune. Now, Adult Neptune was here, but Nepgear was not. More so, I was also thinking about the bet that was in Neptune Nepgear's room. If that was a sign that they wanted to bring Uzume back, but I'm not sure if the team who made this game, same team who made that game. It was interesting to see what they had about some of the design choices. And I guess from how they're describing it, it's not really a cash grab in their opinion. It's just something they wanted to do. So they did it. The maps were honestly really well. I like the maps. The maps were designed well. But it just seemed like they didn't do much for it. So some parts of it seem passionate. Like this is very passionate. Can't take anything off from it. I'm so glad I have it. But others is just okay. Nevertheless, what did you all think about what the devs had to say about this? Now, this, I think, will be the last time I do something on the game. It's been fun. But she'll be back. I'm confident at least of that. Hopefully in their next canon game, they'll bring her. And honestly, like, I don't say it often, but Pluty and Peachy, there was a reason that they weren't in Mega Dimension. I could understand them not being in there, but once they came back in Cyber Dimension, it's like, okay, come on. Or in Mega Tag Mention. I understand why characters logically might not be there, but bring them back for the fans. All right? With that being said, hope you all enjoyed these 2 bonus episodes. I'm going to go get these put together. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next playthrough.